Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Sylvia and my channel is all about art and craft. Now, my apologies for being a little bit late with this video. Unfortunately, last week my computer ended up having to see the doctor, and so I had no computer, so I was unable to do anything. And although I could have got the videos all ready so that when I got the computer back I could then edit the videos and upload them, unfortunately life got in the way, so I couldn't even do that. However, not to fear, I'm catching up. So let's get stuck right into it. Now, as in my previous videos, as I pointed out, today I'm going to do the watercolor painting side of things when it comes to the tomato that we've done in previous videos. Now, if you haven't seen them before, be sure to click on the little eye up the top there. It'll take you to the playlist so you can watch the other videos, so that you can get yourself up to date to where we're at, and so that you'll be able to do this one as well. Now, as I pointed out in the previous video, have your image ready in watercolor pencils, or you could have even used a normal color pencil, but you would have had to make sure you do it super light so that we don't end up with the marking on the paper. So the first thing that we're going to do is make up an orange yellow, and we do that by wetting our brush, and I should have wetted my palette but I didn't, naughty me. And I'm just going into the brilliant red. I'm going to grab a whole heap of it because I want to make sure I've got plenty. And then I'm going to grab the medium yellow, and what we're going to do is mix the two of them together until we get sort of a yellow orangey colour. And then what we're going to do is, hang on, I forgot to put something in here, which is where my little highlight is, so I don't go over it. I'm just going to do that very lightly, quickly, with my yellow-orange watercolour pencil, because I'm being a little smarty pants. And I've got to remember not to do a section over here, so, and what we're just going to do is we're going to throw that in, and I'll leave that little highlight there. And just so that you know, I'm still flat out, but I've managed to find a few minutes to do this, so, because I've just turned the oven on to make some more yummy sourdough bread. It's got to go in the oven. So I thought, while the oven is heating up, I'll come in here and quickly do this. And the good thing about a camera is I can always pause it, attend to my bread, and then come back. Now I'm just going to go around my little square here. Okay. Now that we've got that down, we're going to grab our little reference photo. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go straight into the brilliant red, and we're going to put some of that in. And I'm just using a number 12 round brush for this. Like so. What I'm actually going to do is wash out my brush, dab it a little bit on a paper towel. Oops, I just got glitter all in it. I forgot. I was actually doing another project. And I forgot I wiped some glitter on it. Whoopsie. Okay, hopefully we've got the glitter out. If not, it's going to be sparkly. What can I say? Okay, with a nice damp brush, I'm going to go in here and just soften the edges so we don't have a sharp edge. Wipe it off some more. Because of the fact that we're actually sort of lifting some of the colour up, it's sort of handy to rinse the brush out in between. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to go into our crimson red. I'm going to grab some of that. And we're going to add some ultramarine blue. Because what we want to do is create a purple. Okay. And what we're going to do, we're going to use this purple in this sort of area here. Okay. So we're just going to come in and just not going right along the edge because it actually does sort of look like more reddy orangey sort of a colour. And we're just going to throw that in. Wash our brush out again. Soften the edge a bit. Just to give it a softer look. Might have to go in after with a little bit more colour. We'll just have to wait and see. And we'll soften this area up a little bit too. And along the edge. Like so. Yeah, we'll probably have to go in. I think I might have had my brush a little bit too wet. That's okay. I'm not too worried about it. Okay, now with a damp, clean brush, I'm going to go over here and activate the watercolour pencil and just sort of highlight that. And then I'll just wipe it clean. And then we're going to do exactly the same over here. Just give it a bit of a scrubbing, like so. And what I might actually do is go into the medium yellow and just add that over the top. Just so it's not super white, but it'll have that shine there. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make up some sort of a yellow green, and I'll be doing that by using some Sap Green and the medium yellow, mixing the two of them together, so I get sort of like a yellow appley kind of green. Because what we're actually also going to do is we're going to end up letting this dry, and once it's dry we can then have a look, what else do we need to do to it? Is there anything else we need to do, or can we get away with it? And what I'm going to do is with that is just add the colour in most of the areas, not all of them, just sections of it, just so that we don't lose our lines currently, so that we know exactly where everything is. And that way nothing is going to run into each other either. So, and I'm doing it straight on dry paper. Now I could probably use a smaller brush, a smaller round brush. Use whatever brush you feel comfortable with. That to me is always very important. Working with a brush that you're comfortable with working. Because if you use a brush and you don't feel comfortable with it, you tend to not work it right, if that makes sense. It's alright. I'm still a little bit blown away by my my little parcel arriving today from Princeton. It's blowing me away. I'm just like, wow. I've never ever won anything in my life in a competition, and I guess you can say there's always a first for everything, right? Well, definitely the first for me. Now I'm just going to do the whole lot here. Just making sure that I still have my line sitting there. Only because I really don't want to have to wait for it to dry. So as you can see, I'm sort of staying away from the other sides so that I don't contaminate them. Like so. All right. So next, we're going to have a look at where are our darker shades. Okay. Now, although this shows sort of like a, it's almost like a, like it's got white over the top, we're not going to do that. Okay. What we will do is make up, let me think. What we're going to make up is like a dark green instead. So in order to do that, what you want is your sap green. And we're going to do this slowly, bit by bit. Okay, so we're going to start off with sort of a little bit of a lighter green, and then slowly work in a little bit darker where we need to. So you use the Sap Green and the Ultramarine Blue, and just make it sort of a slightly darker green to the Sap Green. And then I'm just going to throw some in here. And I mean literally throw it in. I'm just doing the bottom edge here. And then we're going to do this area here where it's super dark. And the same in there. Like so. And what we actually want to do is sort of like pull a few little lines out. Apparently I'm still too overwhelmed, I think. Because, yeah, I'm struggling a little bit here. I don't know whether it's the emotions or what it is, but wow. Never mind. So I've actually just decided to do it exactly the same as what we've done with the other bits. Because what we'll do is when we make up the dark, even slightly darker green, we can then sort of define it a little bit more. And this one is sort of a darker green as well, so we'll just throw that in. And I might actually go in with some burnt umber on this, and a little bit of yellow ochre. Gee, I had to think there for a minute. And here I'm just sort of adding a little bit up the top here. And what I'm going to do is with this one here, I'm actually going to smooth it out a bit, and properly with these two as well. Yep, that's a bit too wet. Again, just so that we don't have those hard edges there. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to let this dry, and then we should be able to come back. Actually, I need a little bit more of the darker green there. Just sort of there. That's it. Okay. Okay, so as soon as this is dry, I'll be back and hopefully be able to finish it off. So, back shortly. Okay, so this area here, I'm not 100% happy with. So what I've done is, with the purple that we made up, I actually added a little bit more of the crimson. And I'm just going to go back over it. And this time I haven't got my brush as wet as I did before. See what happens when you try and rush things? So as you can see, my brush is actually reasonably dry this time around. Okay. And then I'm going to go in with some more of the brilliant red. I'm just going to go over the top of it. And then I'm going to have to make up a little bit more of the yellow orange. And I've just gone over the area I wasn't supposed to. Never mind. These things happen. And then we'll grab some more of the medium yellow and just throw that over the top, like so. And just sort of work these colours together so that it blends, like so. Got the feeling this one's not going to turn out as good as my other one, but never mind. Okay, so we need to make a shadow down here. So what I've done is I've mixed up some crimson red, ultramarine blue and some burnt umber to make a grey. Okay, I'm going to grab that. And hopefully my brush is not too wet. Now I'm actually going to move mine to the side like this, and I'm going to put this right underneath here, just to create that shadow. But what you also want to do is, with a nice wet brush, because we want it reasonably watery, we're going to grab some of the brilliant red, and we're just going to put a wash over the top, like so. Rinse our brush out, dab the brush off a bit, and just fade it out like so. And then we can always go back into the grey and, oh no, should be alright. And just redefine our dark shadow here. Bring it over a little bit. Only because mine actually looks like it's bigger. So, but then again, I'm wearing the wrong glasses too, so that could have something to do with it. I don't know. Who cares? I don't. A little bit more of the brilliant red, just to put that tone back in. Rinse the brush off, dab it off, spread it out to soften it, like so. There we go. Okay, now, how am I doing time-wise? Sorry guys, I do have my bread in the oven now, so I do need to keep an eye on the time. Cool, still got time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab some of the burnt umber. Too wet. Dab it off. And I'm going to put some in here. Like so. Probably will grab a bit more after. But for the minute, I'll just leave it at that. And I'm going into the yellow ochre. And yes, you can see my glasses are sitting there. And what we want to do is sort of put the yellow ochre at the end here. And you can achieve that just by dabbing it on like so, to make it kind of look like what it's supposed to. I mean, I haven't got the shape right or anything, but that's okay. It basically looks like what it's supposed to. Okay, I'm going to make up some more grey because I haven't got enough here. Again, crimson red, ultramarine blue, and a little bit of the burnt umber to make your grey that we're after. And it's just a matter of going back and forth with the colours until you get the colour that you want. Got it. Now, what I'm actually going to do is put some of that grey in here to make it darker. And we're going to do the same over here. I'm going to wash my brush out, wipe it reasonably dry, and soften the edge. I'm going to pause the video for a second because I'm going to have to take the lid off now. Back in a second. Back again. Now I'm actually going to use a smaller round brush. I'm going to go down to a number 6. So I'm going to quickly wet my brush. And what I'm going to do is make a darker green. Only slightly darker, not too much. Hopefully I didn't grab too much just then. If I have, that's alright. We'll just add a little bit more green. Oh no, that should be alright. Okay. So what we want to do is, with that bit of darker green, we'll add some in here. Now, I think I better change my glasses for the sec, because yeah, it helps to wear the right glasses. Now very carefully I'm actually going along the edge here. So we've got that crisp edge. Oops. And don't do what I do by plotting it down. And what I actually like to do is use this darker one and just go along the edge, although it's a lot lighter there, like so. And what I generally do is wet my brush, pat it dry on a paper towel, and I'll just sort of blend it in. Just in this area here and this area here, I'm actually going to go in with that grey that we made up. But I'm actually keeping it a little bit lighter because of that area just there. And I'm doing my very best not to try and overwork it like I have a tendency to. And then it takes me forever to work it. So I'm actually going to keep it quite loose this time around. I want to do this area here. But what I might do, I'm going to give it a go. I've got nothing to lose. I'm just going to go into some of that grey that we used and see if I can get this in nice and light. There. Beautiful. That's what I was after. And next I'm going to, for the last little bit here and here, I'm going to go into our darker green. We will have to go in and add more, but just to get our colours down first is far more important, so that we can see where we're at. Okay, and the next one I'm going to do is this one over here. And my brush is actually getting quite dry, so, which can be a good thing, but it can also be a bad thing. It depends on which way you look at it, basically. Okay, so we've got that one in. Okay, next. You guys are probably going, what? There's another next? Yes, there is. Because I'm going to work on this area here. I do want it darker, but I don't want it as dark, like I don't want it the same sort of darkness as there, because we want to try and bring it forward a bit. I might end up having go in with a little bit of the burnt umber in order to achieve it. Yeah, I'll go in with a little bit of the burnt umber. So we'll just keep going along the edge here. It's fine. It's just you don't want it to look identical to what we've got going on over here, so for the other branch, otherwise it ends up looking too flat. And then we've still got to do a little bit here, but I want to wait until that's all dry. So what we're going to do is we'll use the burnt umber here as well as the grey that we made. Oh, not wet enough. And in order to get these really, really fine lines, you're barely touching the canvas with your brush. Okay, so this area here, I'm just using the grey that we've mixed up. And I'm only going to a certain spot down the bottom here, and then we'll go in with a different colour. And again, although this is lighter, I'm making it a little bit darker because that way, you know, it sort of looks like it's towards the front. And with this bit down here, I'm just going to, excuse me, grab a little bit of the burnt umber, add that in, and once that's dry, we'll probably use another colour to go in with. So I'm going to let this dry for a second, and when I get back, we should be able to finish it off. Back shortly. Okay, that's sorted for a second. Time to change glasses again so I can see what I'm doing, because I can already see where I've sort of did a bit of a boo-boo only because I wasn't wearing the right glasses. That's fine, not concerned about it. I can get away with it, can't I? Of course I can. I can do anything. So with the yellow ochre, I'm going to add that in here, but I'm also going to bring it up a bit. I'm going to grab some of the darker green that we made up. And now we just got to do that little piece there, and then the back part, yellow green that we made up before. I'm adding a little bit more of the sap green to it. And I'm going to add that in here. I just feel it's a little too light. A little bit better. As I say, not one of my best days today. That's okay. I'm not going to try and redo this video. Now, with the grey that we made up, I am going to go along the edge here. What we're going to need to do is grab our dark green again. And what we want to do is go along this edge, but I'm sort of dabbing it on a bit, and then just sort of bring that over a little, like so. And I'm just going to go straight into the Sap Green this time. Again, it's to change the colouring in order to make sure that nothing looks like it's joint as one. Because this bit kind of is, but the other bit isn't. And I just muddled it up. I know, good. Okay, I'm going to go into the grey. That'll fix it. So we just go in with the grey. Like so. I'm just going to define the line here. And now I'm going to go into the yellow ochre. I'm going to put a little bit of the yellow ochre in here. Okay, so next we're going to grab our bright red and put that in at the back here. Now if you would notice, I'm actually not going straight along the edge, because we're going to need to change that colour to the yellow orange that we had made up. However, we'll do that right now. I'll pick up some yellow orange. And we'll put that towards the back there. And now I'm going to go into the crimson red. Because this one right at the back here is actually a bit darker. And what I might actually do is go into our made up purple and pick some of that up. Okay, now we did lose our little highlight here. So what I can do is try, and I say try, and activate my Chinese white. Hopefully I can activate it enough. Yeah. And what we then can do is just add that in a bit. Getting the white back is actually a lot harder than if we would have had it there in the first place. However, it's okay. I'm just sort of blending it out. You can always use like a white gel pen if it's not working. So, and I might actually grab the white gel pen. Hopefully I'll grab one that's working straight off the bat. See? Yep, will work. Beautiful. Because what I'm going to do is just add a little bit here and there. And that's how you get pretty much your realism. And just by tapping it, you're actually taking most of it off. So it's not too much. And you would do exactly the same thing over here. So anyway, I'm going to leave it at this because I feel I've shown you guys pretty much the basics on how to shade it. And good thing about a white gel pen is you can do a bit of cleanup if you need to. So, you know, if you find that some of your edges don't look as sharp as what they should, or you got a finger smudge like I have here, although I might not get it off, never mind, don't care, all good. This was just a, you know, just to give you guys the basics. So I do hope you enjoyed this tutorial and you learned something from it. Now, I'm going to pause doing Tuesdays for a little while, only because I'm actually preparing myself for going to the markets with some of my things that I've created. And I thought I'd show you guys what you can achieve by learning how to sketch, learning your shading, and learning how to paint. Okay, by doing that, it doesn't mean you're limited to just painting on canvas. Okay, this is actually something that I've done just the other day, and this was done in watercolors. So it's got watercolor paper there, but hey, isn't that a cool card for somebody for Christmas? I mean, okay, it's not everybody's cup of tea, you know, because you sort of go, but hang on a minute, that doesn't relate to Christmas. Well, some people, they don't celebrate Christmas as such, hence why it says season's greetings, you see, instead of Merry Christmas. Where if I would say Merry Christmas, well, then it would have a proper Christmas theme. So, anyhow, be sure to give us a thumbs up. And if you haven't already done so, and you want to see more of my videos, make sure you subscribe and hit the bell notification so you get notified for every video that's been popping up lately, and well, that will be popping up in the future, shall I say. And my apologies if I'm not 100% with it today. As I say, emotional roller coaster at the moment with receiving my competition prize and everything else that's going on. Mine's not 100% on the art and craft side of things. However, when you look at it, it pretty much resembles what this is supposed to resemble, except it's the wrong shape, as I'm noticing now. Now that I've got my glasses sorted out. Because although I had new glasses, they weren't quite right. So, anyway, not to worry. I will catch you guys in the next video. Bye!